Sepideh Moafi and Shawn Hatosy open up in ways you won't see anywhere else, sharing experiences that are raw, honest, and deeply personal. From moments of doubt to breakthroughs that felt like magic, they take us through the highs and lows of chasing a dream, showing that the path to success is rarely straight, but always worth walking. Sepideh Moafi's journey begins in the world of stage and independent films, where her talent first caught the attention of people who mattered. Early on, she discovered that acting wasn't just about memorizing lines or hitting marks. It was about understanding people, feeling their pain, joy, and everything in between. She would spend hours preparing for roles, reading scripts, researching characters, and sometimes even losing herself in the process to bring authenticity to the screen. Her dedication paid off when she started landing roles that allowed her to explore complex characters, portraying women who were strong yet vulnerable, ambitious yet relatable. Every performance became a reflection of her own growth, a way of telling stories that mattered. Over time, she found herself working in bigger projects, including high-profile shows on HBO Max, where her work gained wider recognition. Even with the fame, she has always remained grounded, emphasizing that the craft of acting is a journey of continuous learning, self-discovery, and empathy. The audience gets a sense of someone who doesn't just act, but truly feels each role, making every character unforgettable in the process. Shawn Hatosy, on the other hand, followed a slightly different path. Coming from a background that combined both stage work and early television appearances, he faced challenges that tested not just his skill, but his perseverance. Shawn learned early that talent alone isn't enough. Resilience, adaptability, and the ability to read situations quickly were just as important. His career reflects a balance of commercial success and artistic exploration. From dramatic roles to intense character studies, Shawn has consistently chosen parts that challenge him and push the boundaries of his abilities. Behind the scenes, he often reflects on the choices he's made, acknowledging that every rejection, every unexpected turn in casting, shaped him as much as the roles he landed. In this episode, Shawn shares stories of those moments when the line between personal experience and character portrayal blurred, revealing a side of acting that most viewers rarely see. It's not just about performing, it's about living, feeling, and carrying a part of yourself into every scene. Together, Sepideh and Shawn create a dialogue that is both fascinating and deeply relatable. They discuss the early days of auditions, the excitement of landing the first big role, and the uncertainty that comes with every new project. The conversation flows naturally, with moments of humor, reflection, and honesty that give listeners an intimate look at the life of actors navigating fame, creative challenges, and personal growth. They share stories about mentors who shaped their careers, peers who inspired them, and personal experiences that taught them lessons no acting class could. Their stories resonate because they aren't just Hollywood tales. They are human stories of persistence, resilience, and finding one's voice in a crowded industry. The episode also touches on the unique pressures of being on platforms like HBO Max, where storytelling reaches millions of viewers who come with expectations and critiques. Both Sepideh and Shawn explain how they balance the desire to deliver a performance that is true to the character with the understanding that the audience brings their own interpretations. This balance between personal truth and audience perception creates tension, creativity, and growth, and it is something they navigate with thoughtfulness and intentionality. They also reflect on the role of technology, social media, and the changing landscape of entertainment, offering insights into how actors today must constantly adapt without losing their authenticity. Every anecdote they share paints a vivid picture of the complexity of their careers, the sacrifices they make, and the moments of triumph that make it all worthwhile. By the end of this first section, listeners gain a clear sense of who Sepideh Moafi and Shawn Hatosy are, not just as actors, but as people. They learn about the foundations of their craft, the philosophies that guide them, and the experiences that have shaped their understanding of storytelling. The section sets the stage for deeper discussions about their specific projects, personal insights, and the behind-the-scenes experiences that make episode 3 of the Pitt Podcast an episode worth watching and remembering. The audience is drawn in, eager to hear more, feeling as though they are part of a conversation that is intimate, thoughtful, and entirely genuine. As the conversation deepens, Sepideh Moafi and Shawn Hatosy dive into the moments that truly define their careers, sharing experiences that reveal the dedication, vulnerability, and sometimes unexpected humor behind the acting world. Sepideh talks about the challenges of balancing her passion for the craft with the practical realities of the industry, from long hours on set to auditions where outcomes feel uncertain. Despite thorough preparation, she reflects on the moments when a character demanded more than just technical skill, requiring emotional honesty that left her feeling drained yet fulfilled. Shawn complements this perspective by discussing the importance of embracing both successes and failures, explaining how each role, no matter how big or small, contributed to his growth as an actor. He shares a story about a role he almost didn't get, describing how a small adjustment in his approach, more empathy, less performance, completely changed the outcome. Their discussion paints a vivid picture of acting as a continuous process of learning, adapting, and discovering new aspects of themselves through each character. The two also explore the intersection between personal experience and professional performance, discussing how life outside the studio often informs what happens on camera. Sepideh recounts moments when her own emotions unexpectedly aligned with her characters, creating scenes that felt raw and authentic without any added effort. Shawn echoes this sentiment, talking about the delicate balance between drawing from personal history and protecting one's emotional well-being. They both emphasize that vulnerability is not weakness in acting. It is a strength that allows the audience to connect, understand, and feel alongside the characters. Their insights reveal that acting is not just pretending. It is an exchange of energy, emotion, and truth that requires constant self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Another compelling part of the conversation touches on collaboration. Both Sepideh and Shawn highlight how working with directors, writers, and co-stars shapes not just a performance, but a person's approach to creativity. They share behind-the-scenes anecdotes about moments when improvisation, trust, and spontaneity elevated a scene beyond the scripted words, creating something unexpected yet magical. Sepideh recalls a moment on a set where an unplanned line led to a breakthrough in her character's arc, and Shawn shares how a co-actor's subtle gesture completely altered the emotional tone of a scene. These stories illustrate how storytelling is a collective effort and how openness to influence, feedback, and experimentation is what allows exceptional performances to emerge. The discussion also touches on the realities of working with major platforms like HBO Max, where content reaches millions of viewers across the globe. Both actors discuss the pressure that comes with visibility, but also the excitement of knowing that their work has the power to resonate widely. They explore the idea that audiences today are more critical yet more engaged, encouraging performers to strive for authenticity rather than perfection. Shawn reflects on the challenge of navigating audience expectations while staying true to the character, emphasizing that the best performances come when actors honor the story and their instincts, rather than trying to anticipate reactions. Sepideh adds that the shift in streaming and digital media has made storytelling more dynamic, offering opportunities to explore nuanced narratives that might not have fit traditional formats, ultimately enriching the craft and the viewer's experience. Finally, the conversation moves into the personal philosophies that guide them both. Sepideh speaks about patience, persistence, and maintaining curiosity, emphasizing that every setback or unexpected turn is part of a larger journey. Shawn discusses the importance of humility and resilience, pointing out that no role exists in isolation, and every opportunity is a chance to grow together. They offer listeners an understanding that the world of acting is not just about fame or recognition, but about continuous self-discovery, connection, and the courage to step fully into challenging, sometimes uncomfortable, moments. By the end of this section, it is clear that episode 3 is not just a podcast about Hollywood. It is a conversation about life, craft, and the human experience, showing audiences why Sepideh Moafi and Shawn Hatosy are not only accomplished actors, but thoughtful storytellers and observers of the world around them. As the podcast unfolds, Sepideh Moafi and Shawn Hatosy take the conversation beyond the polished performances, patience, and the importance of maintaining a sense of self-worth beyond external validation. She reflects on nights of self-doubt, wondering if she had made the right career choices, only to discover later that the paths she feared were wrong actually led her to growth, unexpected opportunities, and deeper understanding of her craft. Shawn shares similar experiences, highlighting how personal challenges often intersected with professional ones. He recounts moments on set when fatigue, stress, or emotional vulnerability made it difficult to perform, forcing him to dig deeper and find strength he didn't realize he had. One story involves a particularly intense scene where he had to channel personal frustration into his character, blurring the line between acting and real emotion. He explains how moments like these taught him the value of self-care, preparation, and emotional boundaries, lessons that are essential for sustaining a long-term career in a demanding industry. Both actors agree that acknowledging struggles does not diminish talent. Rather, it strengthens it by creating a richer, more authentic performance. The discussion moves into the often hidden side of fame, the pressure to constantly be on, and the challenges of maintaining authenticity in a world that demands perfection. Sepideh explains how social media, public perception, and the expectations of fans can sometimes create anxiety, but also provide a platform for connection and storytelling. She shares how she navigates this balance by staying focused on her craft, surrounding herself with supportive peers, and remembering why she started acting in the first place. Shawn adds that there is a vulnerability in being visible, but the lessons learned from that exposure about empathy, human connection, and humility are invaluable. They emphasize that personal growth and professional success are intertwined, and that the struggles faced behind the camera often inform the depth and sincerity of their performances. Amid these serious reflections, both actors also share lighthearted and humorous behind-the-scenes moments that reveal the human side of the entertainment industry. Sepideh laughs, recalling times when wardrobe malfunctions, forgotten lines, or unexpected interruptions forced improvisation and creativity, creating moments that were memorable precisely because they were imperfect. Shawn shares anecdotes about playful exchanges with co-stars, moments of camaraderie, and the little traditions that develop on long shoots, like late-night snack runs or impromptu on-set games. These stories illustrate that while the industry can be intense and demanding, it is also filled with joy, laughter, and human connection. They highlight that even in high-pressure environments, there is room for spontaneity, creativity, and genuine bonding among colleagues. The conversation also touches on mental and emotional resilience, as both actors discuss the importance of staying grounded and maintaining perspective. Sepideh emphasizes that the highs of success are always accompanied by challenges, and that learning to embrace both is key to longevity in the industry. Shawn reflects on the necessity of keeping a sense of humor, cultivating patience, and being honest with oneself about limitations and strengths. They talk about how facing struggles head-on, whether personal or professional, ultimately leads to stronger performances, deeper understanding of characters, and a more meaningful connection with audiences. By the end of this section, it is clear that the journey of an actor is rarely linear or predictable. The moments of vulnerability, struggle, and laughter that Sepideh and Shawn share not only humanize them, but also offer a rare glimpse into the realities of a career in entertainment. showing that success is as much about resilience and adaptability as it is about talent or opportunity. As the conversation moves into its later stages, Sepideh Moafi and Shawn Hatosy explore the deeper meaning behind the roles they choose, the stories they tell, and the ways in which platforms like HBO Max allow them to connect with audiences on a larger scale. Sepideh reflects on the power of storytelling, emphasizing that every character is more than just a part in a show or movie. Each one is an opportunity to explore human emotion, society, and perspective. She talks about how acting allows her to step into lives she may never personally experience, to understand motivations, struggles, and dreams that differ from her own. This process, she explains, cultivates empathy, insight, and emotional depth not just in her work, but in how she sees the world. For her, the art of storytelling is an endless journey, where the learning comes not only from the script, but from the interactions with co-stars, directors, and audiences who interpret the work in their own way. Shawn builds on this by discussing the responsibilities that come with being part of projects that reach millions of viewers. He notes that platforms like HBO Max provide unique opportunities to create nuanced narratives that are bold, diverse, and reflective of real human experiences. Unlike traditional networks, these platforms allow for stories that take risks, explore difficult themes, and challenge conventional storytelling. Shawn emphasizes that as actors, they have the privilege and the duty to honor those stories, to portray them with authenticity and respect. He shares a personal insight about how being part of such productions has reshaped his understanding of the craft not merely as entertainment, but as a medium that can influence thought, spark conversation, and provide representation for audiences who may rarely see their own experiences reflected on screen. Both actors also reflect on how they evaluate which projects to take on, revealing a philosophy that balances creative fulfillment with career growth. Sepideh explains that she is drawn to characters and stories that challenge her emotionally and intellectually, those that require more than surface-level performance and push her to explore unfamiliar territory. She stresses the importance of alignment with personal values and the potential impact a project can have on audiences. Shawn echoes this sentiment, adding that he looks for authenticity in writing and depth in character, seeking roles that resonate on a human level rather than simply providing visibility or commercial success. Together, they illustrate a deliberate and thoughtful approach to career decisions, one that prioritizes meaningful work over fleeting fame and highlights the long-term satisfaction that comes from integrity in storytelling. The conversation turns toward their reflections on growth and longevity in the industry. Sepideh and Shawn discuss the necessity of evolving as actors and individuals, emphasizing that the craft demands continual learning, adaptation, and openness to new perspectives. Sepideh speaks about the importance of staying curious and receptive, absorbing inspiration from all areas of life, from literature and music to travel and conversations with others. Shawn adds that humility and self-awareness are critical, acknowledging that mistakes and failures are inevitable but also essential for improvement. They explore the idea that success is not only measured by awards or recognition, but by the quality of the work, the depth of connection with colleagues, and the ability to tell stories that matter. Finally, they reflect on how their experiences on HBO Max projects have shaped their outlook, highlighting both the opportunities and the challenges of working on high-profile, widely streamed productions. They speak about the joy of reaching diverse audiences, the pressure of being part of stories that millions watch, and the responsibility to honor both the characters and the viewers. Sepideh emphasizes that this exposure amplifies the importance of preparation, authenticity, and emotional honesty, while Shawn notes that such projects allow actors to leave a lasting impact beyond entertainment by contributing to cultural dialogue and representation. By the end of this section, it becomes clear that for both Sepideh Moafi and Shawn Hatosy, acting is not merely a job, it is a purposeful, reflective practice that intertwines creativity, humanity, and the desire to tell stories that resonate deeply. The discussion leaves the audience with a sense of insight into not just their careers, but their values, philosophies, and the artistry that underpins every performance they deliver. As the conversation comes to a close, Sepideh Moafi and Shawn Hatosy reflect on the overarching lessons that have defined their journeys and the insights they hope audiences take away from their experiences. Sepideh emphasizes that the path of an actor is never straightforward. It is full of unpredictability, challenges, and moments that test both patience and resilience. She shares that one of the most important takeaways from her career is the need to embrace uncertainty, to see setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities to learn, grow, and redirect energy toward creativity. She recalls moments when projects she initially feared would fail ended up becoming some of the most rewarding experiences, reinforcing the idea that growth often comes disguised as difficulty. For her, the key is maintaining a mindset that values curiosity, empathy, and authenticity over immediate recognition or external approval. Understanding that the journey itself carries lessons that no award or accolade can replicate. Shawn Hatosy builds on this by discussing the importance of perspective, patience, and self-awareness in an industry that constantly shifts. He explains that success is not only about landing roles or receiving praise, but about cultivating the inner tools needed to handle the pressures, expectations, and challenges that inevitably rise. He reflects on moments where he had to step back, reevaluate,